Okay, welcome back to part 3 of the NX-01 Enterprise build from Polar Lights, 1/350 scale. And we're going to start working on painting the nacelles. So let's head on over to the bench. Alright, hello again. I decided to actually build the pylon, or build the nacelles, and get them all wired up. That way, I think that'll be much easier to deal with, especially assembly. That way I'm not dealing with, having to try to wire, solder the wires what's attached to this thing. I can get it all built and wired this way. I only have this just stuck together. The nice thing is the pylon, the top part, and the bottom part. The bottom part is just a cover in a sense, so I can pull it and have this open, fish the wire through on the top part, and then glue the bottom part of the pylon together, and then glue the nacelle on, and let those cure and dry, make sure they're even and square. And then once both of those are done, then I can come in and put the bottom on, and I think that'll be the easiest. But I do like that I did do the upper part of the pylon now, because they have no weight on them, so I can get the correct angle and make sure they're square and they got the correct angle. So that was definitely I like. Other people I've seen, or even in the instructions on the lighting kit, Gary built and wired nacelle and then fished them through, glued the pylons together and had the wires going through, then glued the pylons onto this, and then later glued it onto this, so that I think I like this way because there's no extra weight. I can easily keep these square. It looks good the way it is, and I think that'll work the best. So it actually worked out for the better in the long run. All right. So I went through and already took the liberty of prepping the nacelles. I glued this piece on. That way when I paint it, it will, it'll be already stuck on there, and that way, you won't see a real, I think the pylon covers most of that anyway, so it's not a big deal. I was going to glue these pieces on as well, but I think I might do them a little bit of a different silver, where this is going to be that zinc. I might actually in anniversary or whatever silver, just to give it a little bit of a difference. They're not too far off in color, but it'll just give that a little bit of difference. Same thing with the bottom one, just to give contrast and some difference that your eye will catch. So I think I'll do that. So I'm going to hold off and not glue those on. Same thing with this. I think I'm going to do these as a silver. They go in just to give it a little difference from the hull color. It won't stand out. I glued all these things here. I'm not sure what they're called, and I believe I'm not sure if this is the direction it goes. Yeah, like that. They come in two pieces. I glued those together. I got to try my tester is liquid cement. It worked great, and then followed it up with the to me extra thin, which is nice because it gets in those seams and really helps you close those seams. You just kind of dab it in there and it just shoots right through all of those seams. And so it was prepped, and I think I'm going to do these that silver too, to keep that a little different. Yeah, and then there's no difference in each one. That'll look good. And then I also went and did the clear blue for these. I did the inner ones a little darker because I don't want them to be as bright as the outer ones. Kind of give it a little dim. And then there's going to be a blue LED inside it too. So that way I think that'll work good. But the next thing I need to do with these, I want to block these off, light block these areas, which on this side will be these areas. and also in between each of these little cubicle cells. So, and then on the inner ones, the inside's really easy. I'm just going to block, do some light blocking here because I don't want those to glow. And then you look on the show, it's, you know, these areas here. So, but the best thing, I think the best thing to do would be to paint these areas black to light block it from the inside. And then, I think I'm, just because it's going to be a pain to mask this off, because I've seen a lot of people, they'll just light block that black and then let it go. I still want the hull color to be in these parts. They're not glowing. So I think the best thing to do is I'll hand paint those. I'll thin the hull color down a lot, and being that it's that cracked acrylic, it pretty much levels itself out good. You know, I did, like I said, I did the Katinga, you know, the brown and the different colors on the squares, on the neck and stuff like that. I hand brushed those on and they level out. All the fancy feather patterns on the wings, I airbrushed because it was just, there's very thin lines and wide spots, and so I did that. Like, you know, I actually masked all that off and, you know, airbrushed it. But for those, there were little squares, you know, say like, you know, even a little bit small, you know, like if you cut that, you know, and it was just so much easier to try to mask all that. And there were a bunch of them up the. If you're familiar with the Katinga, mask all those up. It was just so much easier just to brush them in, and they leveled right out. So, and I was amazed how that worked. And a lot of the darker brown that on the going towards the hull, and that worked great. So, and in order to get these, I also want the dark stripes in between it. You know, I could just do those and let this whole light glow, but I think it'll look just so much more like, you know, the show. There is those grids. To try to do the ones this way, nah, that would be tough. That would be like, you need just such a small, I would believe you need such a small area, because I do want part of that all to glow. So I think if we just get those vertical ones, and it just happens that this tape here fits perfect. And if I hold up, I can see where the pieces here come together, where that kind of semi-flat is. So if I, you know, if I do this and I just put those, they fit perfect in between those. So that'll give me a perfect light blocking there. And then again, I might do a small brush, maybe something like this, go in with the hull color, and just put a little bit in there, just to give all that, you know, there's actually the hull color in there. So, I'll give it a try. I don't think I'm going to try to do, I don't know if there's, you know, I'm not going to try to do the inner edge with the hull color. That would be a pain, I think. Yeah, because there's too many ins and outs. I think if I even just get those, it all depends on how these sit in there too. Might not see much of that. Anyway, so yeah, I think that'll be sharp. So, alright. We got a little cleanup on the seams on these. Get those painted. But I think I'm gonna, I don't know if I should just go ahead and get this half painted so they just cure and dry for a while before I start handling and everything together. I think that would be the best thing. And then I'm going to get to taping this off, and we'll get to doing the light. So I'll see you soon. Well, alright, I got a lot of different things going and done behind the camera. Like I talked about, I got the outer coverings of the nacelles done. They're looking really good. I'm very happy with that. So that's going to look really good. I also did these little detailed pieces that go on the nacelle. Here's where you have your nav and your strobe light. I did these in the anniversary silver, so that'll have a slightly different sheen to it and look to it than the hull. So I like that. I'm actually trying and seeing how they actually look. Yeah, that's going to look good. I like that. So I got those pieces done. I hope I got the right piece for this part. It won't 100% matter, but this piece goes down here. I got that painted. I did that in the same anniversary silver. So when you look up in there, that'll look like that. And now I am noticing, see if that sits high, that I want to hit this with some of the hull silver because that's still black. So yeah, I'll just touch that up so that's the hull color. It wouldn't look totally terrible black, but I think it would look good like that, especially that one will sit like that, and you'll be able to see that, so we definitely want to touch that up. And I'm going to be some of that color anyway, so we'll do that. It's not a biggie. Good thing I showed you this, you guys, so I can let that cure. And what else did we do? I did all these in that silver as well. All these piping that go down around the nacelles like that. So they're done. And they came out really good. I sanded the seams up and everything looks great. So that's another thing I got done while I was off camera. What else did I do? Oh, light blocking these pieces, which is interesting. I did the blue, which you've seen before. Then I laid some tape down. I'll put up some pictures as the stages went. So I have pictures of each stage of painting of it. And then I just put some. Then I masked off the blue in these 3 spots. And went across and did the edges and these parts, so you won't be able to see in camera, but that'll light block those. But then with all this, it's got to get light blocked, so I started just with a hand brush, just brushed in those edges, so that'll light block that. So when I go back, I already have it masked already, so I can just do the hull color here. And then all that's light blocked, and then I can peel the mask off, and only those little areas there will glow. We'll show the blue. And then I masked off the outer chiller grill. So like I said, that tape I used worked fairly decent. Here I already peeled the masks off, and then all the blue will show through those areas, but I'll still have those bars, so when I come back in here and do the hull color and those little cubes, you won't get full-on light bleed. So you'll actually see the segments of it, which is cool. We can go ahead and finish pulling these rest of these off on this one. Get this all cleaned up. And I'm going to want to hit it with a clear. Because the one only bad thing about the water-based craft acrylic is just even your hands can start making it come up. Like if you have a corner or something here, it'll actually start wearing it away. Just the acids and sweat in your hands. So I like to hit it with a clear. I already hit this one with a clear, so I can handle it better. And that sealed it up. And two cats, Brooke and Jack, are gonna have their hair in every model I have. Brooke definitely has hair in the Enterprise. It's hard to find it, but I know they're at. A lot of them I can, can sand away and touched up. Still, it doesn't matter how much I clean and vacuum and whatever, and try not to touch them when I'm doing paint. Their hair still seems to find a way into anything I'm spraying. Did I get them all? I think so. Good, and I'm going to leave the tape here because I want to hit it with the clear. And then on the SART collectors, I hit those with a little red. I kind of wanted to come almost clear so you could see this inside piece, but I was afraid of with 6 lights there you would have hot spots, and still might. We'll see. So I decided just to go, I just used a regular craft acrylic and just really thinned it out and hit it really light, and that gave me enough to kind of can see through it, but it's red enough. And then I light blocked this with black on the back, and then on the front I hit it with the same red. I painted those at the same time. And then I was doing all these little cones and stuff. I don't think we'll ever really see them, but why not do a little bronze and some silver? Silver on the big ones and some bronze on the little ones, and for shits and giggles. You kind of, on the outer edge you can see them. I don't know if you're going to be able to see that, but on the outer edge you can be able to see them. And I'm wondering when the lights go, will it, enough, and if it sells, then I have it ready. And I don't know what those really are and what they're supposed to be looking like, but I like that. It gets a little something, and holding it, and I'll go do something. It's not kind of like my X-wing. There's stuff in that X-wing from the Augustine that you'll never see. Even the phaser cannons. There's the actual unit inside the phaser cannon that's supposed to power them up and actually work. And I even weathered them. But you'll never, besides the pictures I took of it, you'll never see it. You'll open it, unless you unscrew it, and then you can take it apart. You can't unscrew it from the way you take it apart if you need to. But yeah, you'll never, see that. And there's other parts in that, that you'll never see. At least right where R2 is, all that warp engine stuff there. That does pull up, so you do see all that. You see the hyperdrive coil and all that stuff. And then underneath you can pull out and see where all the torpedoes are. But there's still other parts, they have you build, but most of the engine parts, they're in all 4 engines you won't never see. You can kind of see in the intakes a little bit, and a little bit when it's in X position you can see a little bit of it, but there's a lot of it's hidden. But it's just the fun of actually building it, and you actually kind of learn how it works, theoretically works. So, and I figure I'd do the same with this. I don't know if they did that in case someone wanted to just leave this dome clear. But that's why I try to do this as see-through as possible, but it still has to have a evenness in color. It's definitely hard to spray, and but yet diffuse and hide some of the hot spots from the 6 lights that are going to be in there. I know those lights I'll probably scuff so they diffuse and stuff as well. But I think that's where, I think I showed everything that I did. Yeah. Where we're at right now. So I think what I'm going to mix up a batch of this to spray this. clear this real quick, and then at least this part, at least the inner grills I can actually spray. Simple masking of that, and then everything else I can paint just with airbrush. But this one's not going to be so lucky. All the little segments and the edge, that I'm going to hand brush. Like I said, the nice thing about this stuff is it will level itself out, but it will take probably 2, maybe 3 passes with the brush, so I gotta have a good steady hand. You know, you might get a steady hand the first time, but the next time. But the good thing also with acrylics is I can take a toothpick wherever I went up on a cube and just give it a scrape. It'll come off. Big whoops, you know, Q-tip with a little water in it, comes right up. Even after it dries. I had some spillage over in these areas somewhere, you know, and I just took this Q-tip, that's why it's out, and just rubbed it off. But yeah, so let me clear this, seal that, so I don't have to worry about touching that and it wearing off. Get this gray done. Then I'll move to hand painting the inside of this, and then it's actually time to assemble. I'll actually get to put some of this together. But I think the thing would be to do, per Gary's instructions on the lighting kit, would be to start getting the lights in this first, before really assembling anything else. Then, like, we moved to doing the LED strip, with blue LED strip that will light chiller grills. Get that in. We'll probably get, you know, we'll get a chiller grill in, and then we'll put that lighting in. Even though we're prepping for this, I think this will be the last thing to actually flop in. But that's a lot of, there's going to be a lot of soldering there, and might as well get that done. Yeah, and then the nav light I can grab right at the end of the LED strip, and then I can create the strobe. But she came up with a nifty way of doing the strobe lights. I like that too. Because one, you just let it come down, bend, fork it at the end, and the other one just rides on it and bends down, because one's going to be here and one's going to be here. Let me grab the right one here. Here, his rope sits back here, the other one sits here. So he has it fork, you know, just coming down and then bends over. And then this one just does a quick little angle down, but they ride on top of you, so you just solder this metal piece to the other. And that's pretty neat. Which that I'll show you. We'll go through all that. That's a cool way. Don't have to run a wire, just solder them together. And then we actually install the solder collector. Nice. And then close it up. Yeah, we'll be done. But most of the hard stuff, or time-consuming stuff, is pretty much done. The wiring in the SART is going to be time-consuming, but it's not really that hard. So, all right, I'm going to get to you, and I'll get back to you in just a few. Well, I got these all sprayed. They look good. So let's peel off this mask and see what we got. See how it looks here. Alright. Do this carefully. Lift it up, grab some tweezers. I'm liking that. I'm liking that a lot. Alright. Now it looks like I can do a little silver here. And light box that there. So I gotta do that. I gotta snap. Let's see if we're getting glowing out of lap over. Yeah, it looks good. Yeah, so I'll just hit that with a brush. I think that would be the simplest way to do that. Maybe take this piece that I can see through and lay that back in there, and let's check out the other piece. Flip up the tab and oh yeah, that looks good. I'm very, very pleased. Yeah, everything looks good. Looks like I'm getting a little bit down and a little bit blue down in there, but I'm not sure how. It might be just coming through the silver because the black couldn't 100% block that. That's okay. Okay. It's actually kind of cool because it makes it more like these bars are just sitting over top of the grill, so I'm alright with that. I like that. It works for me. I knew all this is going to be tough to get blocked because there's so much going on. Oh yeah. And then when you piping things, that goes on there like that. That's excellent. To be honest, I probably wouldn't even have to hit that part. It could look like just a shadow thing going on. Sorry you guys can't see this, but I'm shining it through the light to imitate the glow. So I probably could get away with not even worrying about hitting that. Kind of like the refit on its chest. Even though you see the grill on the back, you do a slight fade with the black. When you do that black, you want to block parts of it, and then you have those stripes that will show the light through. And then I think it's at the end, if I believe. Yeah, at the end where it kind of tapers down, you where the grill kind of goes like this, you kind of darken most of it here, and then you do like a little fade, and so that can look like something like that. Once they're bright, you're not going to know anyway. And then when I don't have the lights on, then with this detail on it, you are not going to notice anyway. So, and then when they're on, I think we'll be okay. I think I'm going to live with that. Like I said, I could go in there and just with a brush, just touch that up, and make that silverish like I did down here. That block there is not going to allow this part to glow. You know, unless I tape it like way back here. But then all the light hitting in there would have, you know, I didn't want to risk of it making that glow anyway. It kind of makes it look like something on the inside, so I'm not too worried about that. Yeah, I am going to be very happy with that. Yeah, I kind of like that. You still see that. I'll see. But I might, but now I look at the other end, since I do have that, the whole color there, maybe I will, so it kind of blends those together, but I'm not sure. I'll keep looking at it. It's always decisions. Is it worth actually doing something, or do you just leave it alone? It's really not something that anybody's going to ever notice or worry about, especially when those are glowing. And even when it's off and it'll be like that, I don't think you'd even notice. I think we're going to leave it alone. But yes, very happy. Let's do this one carefully. Shift this in. Over either my tape and go over. So I want these, the grill parts are kind of raised up off of this piece, and I want them to be able to blow from the sides. You know what I mean? When you're looking in there, I want to look like that grill is, the whole grill blowing from the sides. Get a little brush and they can push. Scraping out of the way. That's the nice thing about acrylics. Very easy to give a little scrape. That will give me that effect. Silver on the edge here and find what angle to get it through. There it is. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, because I tried to tape it so it went, you know, I over taped it and then I went and just cut. Really good. Both sides. That was a little easier, and I see a little bit on this. I can do that. There. I use just a stiffer brush to help get rid of the paint. Yeah, that came out really good. Double check all these. Over on that. Which I expected. Have that edge, and again, finding the angle of the system. There it is. Either I got rid of it or I scraped the shininess off the plastic. No, I got it. Here's a little bit. more or less, I think what's going on is that what's stuck on the tape, that overlap, and it kind of just, the tape just kind of slid out from underneath it. It seems like. I gotta be careful because I think a bit rammy on this one. Or this one? Yeah, this one here, and I lost a little lip there. So I seal all that now. Again, like I said, you'll never see any of that. Looks really good. But I do want those edges to be clean, so. Doing is worth doing right. Yeah. And our last piece of masking tape. Let's start from this way. Grab a piece. See if I peel that, it gives me a cleaner cut. Usually you want to do that instead of pulling right up. You want to bring that edge off. Yeah, that gave me a way cleaner cut. Looks like I had a little bit of paint bleed through the tape. Right there. Yep. Now let's try something. Get it up well. Oh, it's working beautifully. There's enough abrasive in that to get it up and out of the little holes. Okay, very nice. Yep, all clean. Very nice. Yeah, I didn't really see any on this side. No, this one came out great. Alright. Well, the inner grills are done. I'm very happy with them. Yeah. There you have it. And again, that's what it should look like together. And it's almost like when you're looking here, you almost can't see the difference between the silver and that, but when you get at angles and stuff, you'll see that this has that pewter, more pewter color to it. So, yeah, great. And especially once it gets against this big guy. I don't know if this makes up. But yeah, when you vaguely put that there, you do see it. That's great. I'm very, very happy with that because I knew this was going to be a time-consuming thing. So take your time and it'll come out the way you want it. And one thing is, it's like Boyd said in Trekworks, it's just plastic and paint. You can always, fix it and strip it down, start again. a lot of the clear parts are always hard because you can't strip with anything abrasive, so that's why the hooks come in handy, because I can strip it with, just use water and stuff coming up. But yeah, very happy. Yeah, now we're up to the more challenging ones. There's no way, try to mask in all this stuff, mask these cubes off to get in there, or I can just leave them, maybe just do the hull silver on the ends and the two center pieces, the two center pieces in the ends, but I'm going to go for the gusto and get the paint in there too. And on these walls, I know a lot of people I've seen a lot of kids just leave that alone too, or some people just paint blue and just stick these on and go. Do this right. It's a key feature of this ship. Most of the other Starfleet ships, it's kind of a smooth, glowing nacelle, port nacelle. This one's a little different. You got, different grills on the outside and inside. And the refit only had it on the inside. And you get into the later ships and it goes all the way around them, but it still was a smooth. Where this one's, I guess the segment is supposed to show like the old schoolness of it. And, that's a key feature to these engines. So see that segment. So that's what we're going to try to do. Alright, well, when I come back I'll have these hopefully painted up nice, and we'll take it from there. Start wiring this and getting these engines together. So, see you soon.